Howdy fellas, back again. Don't know when I'll upload this though, so it might be ages, it might be not that long. This is, yeah, I mentioned in my last video, but basically we had a 3-game event, not really an event because there are only 5 people there, but yeah, event, whatever. I had the buy-in round 1. So I've got 2 games to play. I played it with my Demon's Army, which is the first time that I've taken this to an event because it has only just been built and painted semi-recently. And a lot of the models are kind of too fragile or like have breakable bits, so I don't really want to travel very far with it. So having it sit on my lap in a car ride was the perfect time to take it because I didn't have to pack it into a case or anything. I'll go through it. Let's get rid of my head. There we go. This is actually, I submitted this and then I was talking to Bobo a bit, and we've actually made it better since, but the list as I took it was a Scourge with hard target, parry, +1 movement, +1 agi, and the flaming ward and flaming attacks thing. An Omen on a throne. He's an apprentice of Thalma. He's got hard target. He's got +1 attack. Divine attacks against him don't work. He's got +1 advance and Vanguard 6 inches. 20 Myrmidons with +1 AP. 10 Imps who've got the 2 spells. 10 Lemures with static res 2. A Threshing engine with the 6-inch Vanguard. 5 Eidolons with Scout and -2 to charges against them. 2 Blazing Glories with Vanguard 6 inches. And then 5 Sirens with +1 attack. Honestly, there's not a lot about this list that is strategic. It's mainly models that I already had and finding a suitable army for them, sort of. So this is more model based than strategy based, but with the Demon book a lot of the time it's sort of you can do anything as long as it's vaguely sensible and it'll work fairly well. Mainly this is sort of I get all my damage magic outside of characters, so I've got these 2 fully kitted up good combat characters basically. In a lot of my practice games with it, I have been losing those greater demons really frequently. So I didn't have particularly high hopes for how well the list would do going into the games. But I didn't really mind. I think it is actually better now. The changes we've made basically make the Scourge and Adept of Evoc, the Omen and Adept of Thalma, and then keeps the Eidolons and the Imps as they are. So I've got basically some good buff magic in my characters. I've got good damage magic outside of it. And all it sort of cost was I had to cut down on some of the manifestations on the characters, which, I mean, I haven't played that many games, but in all honesty, a lot of it feels like sort of the manifestations are nice to have, but most of them aren't important enough to want to, say, not be able to take buff magic. So I think it's a much better solution to now be able to have strong buff spells in addition to my strong damage spells, because I don't think I lose that much. Like I think I won't have hard target. I think I've still got Centipede, Legs, Dextrous, Tentacles, and Incendiary Ichor on the Scourge, and then I think I've still got Hammer Hand, Centipede, Legs on the Omen. So it's still super quick. Like, that's a Scourge who's movement 9 on the ground or 8 in the air. Omen's movement 10 flying. Like, still super quick, super dangerous. And they're still, I mean, they're as vulnerable as ever to being killed by magic or cannons or whatever. So, yeah, that's the main theory behind it. In my first game, I was drawn up against Tim. I think he lost his first game. I'm not sure. He has basically got a Shamanism Master, an Orc Warlord on foot, an Orc BSB on foot, and a Thaumaturgy Adept Goblin. He's got a big block of common Edbashers with paired weapons. He's got a big block of Cave Goblins with 3 Mad Gits, 6 Trolls, some Chariots, 2 units of 15 Iron Orcs, some Grotlings, 2 Splatterers, and a Giant. I've actually played, maybe not this exact list, but a quite similar list before of Tim's, and expected basically all 3 of those characters to go into the Orc Edbashers. In terms of the matchup, because it's, I didn't look at the list very particularly carefully before the event. It's not like in these Teams events that I've been putting up on the channel mainly, where, you've got, before pairings, you look at them, think about it, then once you've got your pairing, you sort of look at it more deeply. This was much more of having a vague idea and seeing what happened. So my vague idea was pretty much that I think if my Omen gets into the Orc Edbasher block and I can stop him from getting flanked, I can probably kill all those characters, and that might well win me the game. That's basically all I really thought. So that was what I was trying to play for. Let's get back over there. The pitches are going to be a little bit bad because I couldn't, on crutches, I didn't have great spots to sort of move to, basically. So this was sort of like a sitting down and just popping it like that, but we'll have to deal with it. This is my Omen. What he actually looks like is this. But unfortunately, on the way there, he snapped, because he just has a little flying stem there that was glued in because otherwise it was too loose. So he snapped off at the start of the day, and I didn't even get to deploy my first game with him working, but oh well. Otherwise, I've got my Threshing Engine and Blazing Glory over here. I've got the Scourge and the Eidolons here. I've got the Blazing Glory there. We're playing Hold the Center, so I've got my 3 scoring units around the middle. My opponent chucked a unit of Iron Orcs in each flank. He chucked the Wolf Chariots across from my Threshing Engine. His 2 big blocks in the center along with his Trolls, and then he's got his Chaff, one out on the right and 1 in the middle here. Yeah, I think I dropped for first. Because, basically I just wanted to... this list is basically a rush list. Where, you want to get on your opponent as quickly as possible, not take as much range damage. And it's got 4, 5 really pretty strong single models, so that's sort of the general concept. Yeah, that's the thought process. And I was just moving up, basically with that game plan of, Omen wants to get into the Orcs, but I needed to find a way that he wouldn't get flanked by the Goblins and the Trolls immediately. The problem there would be that if I kill those characters and then lose my Omen, probably don't even win points. Which is an okay trade, I think, because I think his BSB and his General and his Magic is probably more important losing, even if it's trader points. But ideally I could do it so I didn't lose the Omen. I don't know that many pitches, so we'll see what's next. Alright, yeah, so basically figured out that with positioning of these Mad Gits, I could charge... sorry. Over here is not his chaff, that is my Sirens. So they're out of line of sight of these Orcs. So basically, I just sent the Omen in with the Scourge, knowing that he could declare with his champ in the challenge, and I didn't want to lose the I think at 5 ranks. I might have lost the combat if that happened. I don't know. My main theory there was basically if I've got the Scourge there, Scourge can probably tank a round of attacks from the Trolls, particularly because he's got the flaming attacks against them, which is handy. His Thunderstop against the block will basically ensure that even if these Goblins come in, I will continue winning the combat. But it was a pretty big risk, because one, that Scourge could easily die. Two, these Mad Gits could do enough damage that I'm in a lot of trouble. So, yeah, like, I mean, this was sort of like I'm going to make a move on my turn 2 to win the game or lose the game and see what happens. Because I wasn't that familiar with the list either, so, yeah. Other than that, I think in combat, I didn't do that much damage over here. I was a bit disappointed, but I think I overestimated how much damage my Sirens were likely to do to those Black Orcs. I don't know what I did in Magic. I don't think it was that significant. So those Trolls have actually now countercharged the Scourge. Oh, I killed his Giant with my Magic, is what I did, which is handy. His Grotlings charged my Imps. His Goblins charged my Lemures. My Lemures stuck. And it looks like, at least in this first round, or the second round after I charged, the Scourge is still sticking alive after the attacks. I'm pretty sure... So my Omen went in and I'm pretty sure had to fight a champion. My Scourge, I think, then killed his BSB. So, like, that was... Like, I was looking at this and I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose this Scourge, but at this point I might actually be okay. Particularly with Omens definitely going to be locked in a challenge, racking up extra combat res because of the Rule and the Throne. And then I should be able to get support in again against these Trolls. So I was expecting the Omen was actually quite likely to be okay. I don't know what pitch is next, but we'll see what happens. Okay, well, yeah, basically that's this. Scourge is actually dead. This might be just after the combat, which is why he's still sort of there. But Omen is there just slapping characters dead. Now these guys are in the flank, but what I was able to do in my turn was charge the Blazing Glory at the Goblins, because I expected, particularly having taken 2 wounds, he's probably going to be in quite a bit of danger if he goes and fights these Trolls. Won't take any attacks away from the Omen, because the Omen can't be attacked, he's going to be in a challenge anyway. But I could get him into the Goblins, and I could actually get the Myrmidons into the flank of the Trolls, which I thought they'd probably be likely, maybe not doing more damage, but the wounds they take back are less impactful. Probably more damage because they've got more attacks. And there's more like it's ranks in the flank and stuff. Still a risk though, because we've got this counter charge from the Iron Orcs that's quite possible. So I had to, after I did that, go quite wide. Well, you see the result. Okay, so basically what happened over here is after I charged in, I had to go wide to keep the Iron Orcs in my front. When the Iron Orcs charged, I actually killed like 4 or 5 of them, and I was really good on my ward saves. In a few times in this game, actually. And basically the Iron Orc charge helped me more than it helped my opponent. Getting the Blazing Glory in to the flank and the other one into the front of these Goblins basically meant that they were stuffed. Pretty sure my Threshing Engine made it into the Wolf Chariots. And eventually my Imps actually won the combat against his Grotlings, mainly just because I had a save. So then over in this combat, when I'm pretty sure killed BSB, General, Wizard, the terrible leadership of his army still there, particularly with Fear, meant that he basically broke everywhere. Which is what you can see here, with these Trolls running away, Orcs running away, and then the Myrmidons just sort of sitting there winning the objective. Because I think my opponent took an early lead on the objective, but I managed to get it by the end. He charged Iron Orcs at the Myrmidons. I think I won again. If I lost, I didn't lose by much, so I didn't lose many models. Then I think I got my Blazing Glory into the rear, or the Threshing Engine into the rear. And pretty much ended the game. I tabled my opponent. I had lost my Scourge, 1 Blazing Glory, and that's it, I think. So, yeah, it was a really, really good first innings. And and won the game 20-0, which was nice. But I think, realistically, the game was closer than the outcome ended up being, because basically back at this point, not so much here. Basically at this point, I think there was potential, particularly because my wizard was fighting his character with scarification. I think there was potential for me to lose the game here with losing the Scourge, and then if I had to fight the wizard again and didn't get enough combat res, with the trolls in my flank and the ranks in his unit quite possibly just breaking or like crumbling there. So even though it was a 20-0, I think it really came down to that. The fact that my Myrmidons were able to go in and with good ward saves take the charge from the Iron Orcs. So I think that was basically a situation in the middle of the board where I don't know if I got lucky, but it was probably like a 50-50 or close enough that went my way. And if it went the other way, it would have been a big win to Tim. So happy with it. But yeah, I think the game was a lot closer than the result showed it to be, basically. Yeah, that's that. So I've got my next game. And I might record that one now. So I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.